In today's video, why your body fat is not coming off. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com. In today's video, I'm going to break down the topic of why your body fat is not coming off. I'm going to give you some real tangible advice and some suggestions on how to ensure that you are losing body fat. And today's question comes from right here on my Instagram direct message. So go here to my Instagram, send me your question. We can talk about them either in a chat. I'll try to answer them here on a video if I feel like they apply to a lot of people. And if you like this type of content around reaching the physique of your dreams with a physique expert, well, hit subscribe. That's what I love to do here. So first, what I'd like to do is read you today's questions. Then we're gonna really get into the nuts and bolts of what makes weight loss successful. Hope you are doing well and staying safe. I'm 27, 5'11". I weigh about 180 pounds. I have a low calorie, high protein diet. I've done plenty of workout programs with a lot of cardio in an effort to lose body fat, but after months and months, I look relatively the same. Why is my body fat not coming off? Should I be using fat burners? Okay, so what I want to talk to you today is about some research that suggests what actual successful diets look like. And so, you know, we hear a lot of things either in the media, magazine covers about what's happening and why we're not losing weight. But what's cool about research is research doesn't care about what the media wants to hear. Research is done by peers who look at long-term successful people losing weight. And I found some interesting stuff that it actually kind of surprised me, because to see it in writing in a review, and I'll put the link below to the actual research so you can know I'm not just using this as a way to kind of back up my theories, but as a coach who works with, you know, athletes and bodybuilders and people trying to lose weight of all ages, young, old, I have found all the tricks. I know all the tricks. I know how to get people to get their body fat off, and I know how to keep it off, okay? And it's not the approach that most people would think is successful. So I'm gonna tell you the 4 things that lead to successful weight loss, and more importantly, weight maintenance. The first one is a diet low in fat. Frequent self-monitoring of weight. Frequent self-monitoring of food. And last, high activity levels regularly. That's it. It's pretty basic. And I think a lot of people would say, well, Paul, I'm already doing that. My friend here said he's on a high protein, low calorie diet. So that tells me he's probably actually doing a good job with the low fat. But what I find makes fat loss very successful is actually carbohydrates. And a lot of people make the assumption that carbohydrates are going to cause problems. Well, because we hear about it all the time. But also, I think a lot of people don't actually understand that the foods that they associate with high carbohydrate foods, I actually had someone yesterday say to me, well, I can't have carbohydrates because candy bars do this. And I actually had to correct them and say, well, most candy bars actually have more calories from fat. You see, carbohydrates burn fat. That's right. Carbohydrates give us energy. And so through activity, which I just mentioned was the number 4 thing associated with successful dieting, weight loss, and maintenance, was high amounts of activity. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means you get up and move more. I had this thought the other day when it came to why so many people get the freshman 15. And I think a lot of us associate it with, well, you go off to college, you start drinking and doing all these things. But I had another association that I thought of. When I was in high school, you get dropped off or you go to school, you're literally walking around the campus all day, from class to lunch to recess, whatever you might be, you're on your feet, you're moving all day, okay? A lot of us, when we get to college, I know myself, I was driving to class, okay? Now, does that mean that you're automatically gonna gain weight? No, but if you remove a lot of the activity from your life and increase food consumption, well, there is your recipe. So I think this high level activity, and if you guys watch my videos with kind of any amount of regularity, you know how much I believe in just getting out and moving and taking walks and using low intensity exercise as a way to lose weight. So the first thing that I want to talk to you about why you're not losing weight is, how are you tracking that? How are you actually accounting for your high protein, low calorie diet? And what happens when you come off that diet? Because we all know nobody can stick to a low calorie diet for long periods of time. It starts to create problems. It creates cravings. So you need to have a plan. Do you have a plan where you're being accountable for, let's say, a refeed day, multiple refeed days, a diet break, even a cheat day, a free meal, whatever you want to frame it as? Do you have a plan? Because being on a low calorie diet, once it leads to that point where you're going to break, and you will break, just how bad does it go? You can easily undo weeks of a caloric deficit with a day, 2 days of overeating. Why? Well, because as we lose body fat and as we restrict calories, we actually turn our bodies into a fat storage machine. Now that's okay if you're working towards a goal and you're understanding that, but many of us don't actually understand that, okay? The other thing you talked about is the high protein diet. Is that going to be successful? Let's talk about the definition of high protein, because protein, as it pertains to lean body mass, has a limit in its benefit. Meaning, if you weigh 150 pounds and you are 130 pounds of lean body mass, you probably don't need much more, or you probably need even a little bit less than 130 grams of protein a day to maximize muscle protein synthesis and building muscle. Now, there can be a benefit to having more protein for satiety, for food volume, but higher protein does not necessarily mean you're going to lose more body fat. In fact, one of the first things I do with many of my clients who are on a super high protein diet, so say someone weighs 150 pounds and they're eating well over 200 grams of protein a day, I pull that protein all the way down and bump up their carbohydrates, and guess what happens? Their digestion improves, their energy levels improve, they move more, voila, we start losing weight. They think I'm magic because they're eating more carbs. However, over-consuming protein is not necessarily going to be a great way to lose weight. Now, I do like to use protein at times when people have issues with satiety, when we're very lean. But again, I work with a population of people that get well below their natural set points and compete in bodybuilding competitions. I do it myself. So when we get to that place, there are some different tricks that we have to pay attention to. Now, the biggest problem I run into with lifestyle, fat loss, weight loss initiatives is that accountability is not a thing. So you say you're on a low calorie diet, high protein diet. Are you actually tracking your macronutrients? Do you know what you're eating? Are you preparing your own food? One of the easiest ways we can really take some accountability is just for 1 week, eat the same meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner for 1 full week. And we can also make sure for 1 full week we're tracking our cardio, our training, and our steps so that we get a true picture of energy coming in and energy going out. Only then, after a full week, can we see success. Now, every weight loss study that has been done in a metabolic ward has showed that diets, including carbohydrates, are much more successful for fat loss, okay? So I'm a big proponent of carbohydrates, but understanding that you need to be aware of what your macronutrients are. You don't just want to throw carbohydrates at somebody, but when we get super low in carbohydrates, our energy tends to suffer, our performance in sports and resistance training tends to suffer, lean body mass is lost. That's when we can really run into a problem with losing our metabolism, okay? Muscle is positively associated with our metabolism. So what I really want you to focus on at this point is tracking your calories and your macros, and not just going on low calorie diets, okay? I understand that it's often easier when you start off to just go, I'm just going to follow this diet that you saw or someone gave you. But when you don't actually understand what you're taking in and you're not accountable, it's not going to be that easy for you to make adjustments, because what do you adjust when, as you said, you've just been on a low calorie diet and doing lots of training and cardio, and now you're not seeing progress? You don't actually have a clear picture, okay? One thing I find when I start to get calorie restricted, and I find this with many people, is that we start to grab and snack things. So even though you think you're only on a 1,000 calorie diet, if you add in all the things that you grab and the little bit of food that you throw on top, you could easily add 50% more calories. You know, it's been shown in research that that's actually what happens. And that's why when they do these studies in the metabolic wards, we see such a difference in the results versus when people have to do actual reporting of their results. So why are you stuck losing body fat? I've been there myself. Until I started being accountable, until I got a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, that's right, there weren't even apps at that time, and started plugging in my numbers each day and being accountable and realizing, wow, that food that I thought was rather healthy actually has 50 grams of fat for that one meal. So I started paying attention to the food labels. I started preparing my own meals, not necessarily trusting what I was eating out. I started weighing myself daily. That's right, that's one of the positive correlations. I started tracking my food daily. Again, another positive correlation. There were only 4 of them, guys, and those 4 things are the things that are really gonna set us up. I also find that if I take pictures of myself every week, that really helps. Why? Because I know in a few days, I've got to step on a scale and take pictures. And on that day, I don't want there to be something off. I want to know that I've made progress. And that seed planted in my brain helps my decisions every single day along the way. Okay? So accountability is huge. And this is why we do the Pro Physique Transformation Challenge. And it's about, I think, a week or two, we're giving away $50,000. It's already done. We'll be doing another one probably in August, but more to come on that. So yeah, that's it, guys. Hopefully this answers your question, my friend. Now, you mentioned a fat burner. I got bad news for you. Fat burners are not going to burn fat in lieu of eating less and moving more. The real benefit of a fat burner is most stimulants are going to actually help you with your appetite. So I'd love to tell you, listen, I have my own fat burner with Core Nutritionals. If I thought that was the solution, I would just be throwing that in your face. No, fat burners are not the solution. Fat burners help us with energy, appetite suppression. Yeah, and they're just gonna make the process go a little smoother because it allows us to move more and control our appetite better. But if you're not being accountable on a daily basis, you don't know how many calories you're taking and you don't know how much you're moving, and you can't look at it in black and white, then we can't adjust, okay? We can't make progress. We can't say, hey, we've been the same weight for 2 weeks now on these calories and this much movement on average. We know what we have to do beyond that. That's how real weight loss and impact happens. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for me today. I hope you're having an awesome day, and I will talk to you tomorrow.